Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and it is time for that live stream show. Looking forward to you joining us tonight and having you on the show with us. Hopefully you're excited about our live stream show, and hopefully you're excited for another great episode of the Hubbard's Marina Off the Hook live stream show. We're going to be talking fishing, giving away free trips, and just having a good time tonight. Hanging out. We always start the show by showing you guys what we've been catching, showing you photos of what we've caught this past week, and then talking a little bit about what's going on now, what's coming up, and then we get into the weather, and then show you guys some good stuff coming up weather-wise, and then answer your questions live during the show. If you do have a question that you want answered live during the show, make sure you text it into the phone number at the bottom of the screen. Again, phone number at the bottom of the screen is how you get your question answered live during the show. So, with that, let's get rolling right into the question or the photos and show you guys what we've been catching this week. So, as far as what we've been catching this week, we're seeing some of those black drum. The black drum bite has actually picked up quite a bit. We're seeing quite a few black drum in the Back Bay areas along the seawalls and docks and mangrove shorelines. We're seeing them out in the passes, out on the jetty, out on the beaches. Plus, of course, the sheep's head action has really fired up around the area. A lot of sheep's head around docks, piers, bridges, jetties. Seeing a lot of flounder too. Keep in mind the flounder are closed right now for spawning season protection. They open up December 1st. So we only got about maybe less than 2 weeks, week and a half or so before those flounder do open back up. We're seeing a lot of the pompano out on the beaches, around the pass, around the jetty, and even inside the Back Bay areas. Redfish action still going really well throughout the area. Redfish action is really kind of at its peak in September, late September through October into November. So get out there and take advantage of those redfish before they slow down on us a little bit as we get into the winter months. Right now, redfish action throughout our Back Bay waters is hot, 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 as you can see by the plethora of redfish photos. Excuse me. We're seeing a lot of those sheep's head, like I was saying, the black drum, good eating size black drum too. Solid sheep's head around, even a few snook. The snook are definitely fewer and further between. You got to hunt for them a little bit more tucked back into the back protected bay waters. Upper Bay, Back Bay areas, creek mouths, river mouths, bayous, mangrove shorelines, looking for those sun-drenched shorelines. Mid-afternoon, late afternoon is a good place to find the snook for sure. We're still seeing a few trout. The trout action is going pretty well. They're moving shallower. We're seeing Jack Crevalle around. That is definitely a good option around the area. You never know when you might run across a real active school of Jack Crevalle. So keep those lines rigged up and ready because they are always a ton of fun if you run into some Jack Crevalle, or Crevalle, however you want to pronounce it. Everybody has a different suggestion. I refer to them lovingly as canal tuna. But Jack Crevalle are always a ton of fun. One thing I mentioned, or forgot to mention, at the beginning of the show, guys, is how you win free trips, right? You want a chance to win over $1,500 in free trips. All you have to do is comment once on the live stream show. Remember, if you want your question answered live during the show, you have to text us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen. If you want a chance to win free trips, you do have to comment at least one time on the live stream show. But remember, your comments are not going to be seen by us generally during the live show. So if you want your question answered, you got to text us. If you want a chance to win, you got to comment. And then we appreciate if you like, share, and help us to spread the word by following our pages, whether you're following us on Facebook, Instagram, subscribing on YouTube, following us on Trovo or Twitch, or TikTok, especially trying to grow that TikTok channel. So help us out. Make sure you follow our pages and like and share the posts as well. Also want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinnells Point Drive South in St. Pete. If you haven't stopped in to see our friends at Gator Jim's, make sure you do so. They really help make this show possible, along with viewers like you. So make sure you stop in and say hello. 3301 Pinnells Point Drive South in St. Pete. They have a huge selection, killer deals, awesome people over there, and make sure you tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. Then as well, want to make sure we give a shout out to, of course, all of those in our supporters group. Our supporters really make the show run as well, and super helpful. It's only $4.99 a month to be a supporter. We actually have a supporters page of our website now to make it easier to find how to become a supporter. Josh is going to drop that link into the chat, so make sure you check out becoming a supporter today. It's only $4.99. You get a little bit more behind the scenes action, a little bit more communication, and you get access to our private supporters after show. So check it out. It's a really, really cool way to stay in touch. Also want to, of course, give a shout out to all those send-in stars. The stars help fuel the show too. On Facebook, you can send stars right where you write a comment. You'll see a little star, and you'll be able to send some stars that way. Angel Perez, Jeff Reedy with a big 1,200 stars. Thanks for kicking us off right, Jeff Reedy. Jasmine Marie, Samuel Lang with 490. Thanks, buddy. Scott Flynn with 200. We have Ryan Kelly, Gary Camage, Frank Pender with 500 stars. Tim Dykes with 600. Richard Harcourt, what's going on, buddy? And then Dave Decatur with 500 stars. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for the stars and support. And, of course, all of you watching as well. Really helping to fuel the show, of course, too. So, appreciate all our supporters, our star senders, and of course our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle. With that, let's get back into the questions and show you guys what we're catching near shore and offshore. Near shore and offshore right now, we're seeing a lot of those hogfish near shore. The 10-hour all day is crushing the hogfish. We're seeing quite a few of them. This big hogfish was from our 12-hour extreme trip recently. We're seeing a lot of those big hogfish near shore, but offshore you never know. You have a chance for those hogfish, and this one came on a vertical jig, which was pretty interesting. But most of the hogfish we're running into are in shallower near shore waters, 30 to 70, 30 to 80 foot of water. Really a good area to target those hogfish. We're seeing quite a few on the 10-hour all day, the Hub private fishing charters. You got a chance for them on our 5-hour half day too, but we're seeing basically the majority of those hogfish on the 10-hour all day for sure. Plus, we got the kingfish around. King mackerel are in town. We're seeing a lot of mackerel trolling near shore on our 5-hour half days. We're seeing a lot of the king mackerel out deeper on our 12-hour extreme, our 39-hour trolling on the way out and way back. Great way to get them on the 39 for sure. Some big mangrove snapper lately. The mangrove snapper bite has been consistent and impressive. Seeing quite a few mangrove snapper, some nice solid yellowtails, a handful of the muttons, a lot of triggerfish lately. Boat limits of triggerfish pretty consistently, especially on the 12-hour extreme trip. Seeing a lot of big vermilion snapper, seeing quite a few of these mutton snapper, and really, really, really good numbers of a variety of different species, some big porgies. We're, of course, running into our catch and release red grouper, but these big triggerfish help make up for the variety of fish that do have to go back. So definitely some good solid fish in action right now, and a good time to get out there because we have lighter loads. The 39-hour trip that came in this morning had around 20 people on it. We've got another 39-hour trip coming up with only like 18 people on it. I think that's Tuesday. Obviously not this Tuesday, because we've got Thanksgiving, but the following week we have a Tuesday trip with about, I think, 16 or 18 people on it. That trip's going to go with a super light load. Then the following Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday, we've got, I think, 24 people. So super light loads. The 12-hour extremes are going with 6, 7, 8, 9 people right now. Light loads on the extreme trips. 10-hour trips, 5-hour trips, they're going to be a little bit busier, especially this week as kids are out of school. We've got Thanksgiving. The holiday definitely makes us artificially more busy on those near shore trips. So it's going to be a little bit busier this week if you want to get out there and do some hog fishing on a 10-hour. But as soon as Thanksgiving's over, the weekend following Thanksgiving's pretty busy. But behind that weekend, it slows way down. So the numbers will be light again at the end of November, early December, until we get that weekend before Christmas, all the way through New Year's Day. It's pretty busy. But as long as you're in that end of November, early to mid-December time frame, super light loads, plenty of room around the boat, and we're catching a lot of those hogfish for sure. So good time to get out there. Now, we talked about the weather, or we talked about the fishing. Now it's time to talk a little bit about the weather and show you guys what's going on weather-wise. We're going to hop back to the Hubbard's Marina website. Of course, we've got our 2024 calendars for sale, so make sure you check out that pop-up that appears when you visit hubbardsmarina.com. And then we're going to scroll down to our weather links page, which is our second link under Fishing Trips tab, Weather Links. And that's going to bring you to our weather links page. We'll start in the 5 and 10 hour forecast area on Wind Finder. So funny. It keeps bouncing up and down. It shows the Friday following Thanksgiving looks gorgeous, and then all of a sudden it shows a little bit of wind. So it keeps bouncing up and down. So it's interesting. Now it's showing wind again, where all day today it was showing a flat, calm, no wind weekend following Thanksgiving. So little bit of a surefire sign they don't really know what's going on there post Thanksgiving. But we know today was beautiful, gorgeous. Tomorrow is more of the same. Absolutely picture perfect, sunny and 75. And just no better weather. So gorgeous day tomorrow. Tuesday, the wind's going to pick up a little bit out of the south as a low pressure approaches our area. It's not really going to make it bumpy enough near shore to mess us up. So Tuesday, we'll still be able to get out there. Just going to be a little bit breezy, a little bit choppy. Sunny and 75 still. We'll kind of overcast in 75 Tuesday. Then Wednesday, we get a cold front coming through around midday. That wind's going to shift out of the north and get a little chilly on us. Wednesday afternoon into Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, it's going to be overcast and in the mid-60s. So that's frigid. That's winter weather for us here in Florida, and we'll be bundled up Thanksgiving morning with overcast conditions and mid-60 degree temperatures. Then Friday, right now they're calling for a little bit of wind, so we're going to hurry up and wait. But it looks like another cold front there Friday night. So that will be interesting. Look at that. It gets 64 degrees at 10 a.m. Sunday. So pretty decent cold front there Friday is what they're calling for. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out, because it's been very up and down and has been bouncing around quite a bit. We're going to pop back to the wind, or to our Hubbard's Marina weather links page. Hit spaghettymodels.com. Our good friend Mike Boylan at Mike's Weather page has a great website we utilize heavily. We'll show you here. Tomorrow is beautiful. It's gorgeous. Everything's kind of staying out of our way tomorrow, giving us the opportunity to enjoy some nice weather. And then day after tomorrow, Tuesday, wind picks up out of the south as that low pressure approaches. You can see that low pressure is swooping down out of our northwest and coming southeast. And as that frontal boundary approaches, it's going to pull wind from the south and really make it a little bit more breezy there Tuesday. And then as we get into Wednesday, definitely going to be a little bit more adverse as that frontal boundary stalls on top of us. Thursday, it moves past us. We get that nice northerly wind, and then look at that, another cold front stacked right behind it. That's why Friday's weather picks up, because that cold front behind it just totally goes into, look at that, two frontal boundaries again on either side of the state. That's what happened this past week. So that'll be interesting. Cold front makes it down, stalls out, and leaves its remnants in the Gulf, which is not good tropical weather-wise. It looks like it just kind of stalls out and hangs out through the weekend. So that'll be something to watch for sure. So long story short, weather looks best today, tomorrow. Going to get a little bit bumpy Tuesday, a little bit bumpy and overcast Wednesday, and then chilly Wednesday afternoon into Thursday. Remember, Thursday we're completely closed for Thanksgiving, and then Friday, potentially we're going to get another cold front and be a little bit adverse through the weekend, but not terribly. So keep an eye on things Friday and beyond. We know tomorrow is the day to get out on the water for sure. Tuesday is not bad if you're staying near shore, is what it looks like weather-wise. So we showed you the fishing, what we're catching. We talked about what's going on now. Now we talked about the weather, what's coming up this week. It's time to give away a free trip, and then we're going to get rolling right into your questions. Remember, if you have a question, you have to text us your full home address, you have to text us your question to the phone number on the screen. If you're picked as one of our lucky winners during the drawing we're about to do, then you have to text us your full home address within 5 minutes to prove you're watching live. That's how you claim your free trip giveaway. And we're going to do that in just a second. Ashley Pettit, appreciate those 310 stars. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and do our first giveaway of the night. We've got a 5-hour half day for 2, a 10-hour all day for 2, a 39-hour for 1, and a Hubbard's Marina swag pack to give away. Let's kick it off right and do the 10-hour all day. I like switching it up on you guys. So we're going to do the 10-hour all day first for 2 guests. 10-hour all day for 2 lucky winner, or 1 lucky winner for 2 guests. Carl Uchil. We're going to go with that. From Pittsburgh, congratulations. Oh, it's Char. I'm going to go Char. Share, maybe? Chair. Yeah, Chair. Congratulations with your 10-hour all day for 2 guests. Lucky winner. So, let's see. Moving back to full screen here, we'll get into your questions. Remember, if you have a question you want answered live during the show, text us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen. We'll get rolling right into questions tonight. Make sure we have plenty of time. We got 40 minutes to answer your questions. So hopefully you guys got some good ones for us. We'll get kicking off here and rolling right into it. What bait gives me the best chance at a Cubera snapper? Lobster. Lobster would be, if you were going to try to catch a Cubera snapper, I would be fishing in our area at least August, late August, September, October, into November. We see the Cubera. Really all year we see Cubera, but it seems to be late summer through the fall is when we see the most of them, most commonly. Live lobster is kind of a go-to. I have dropped a live lobster down for bait before, but most of the time I'll drop it down and then wait a little bit, and then I'll crank it back up and eat it if if I don't get a bite pretty quickly. But you can also catch them just using pinfish. We've caught a lot of really big Cubera snapper fishing for mangrove snapper, and a lot of times you'll hook a mangrove, and then while you start catching that mangrove snapper, a big Cubera will come over and eat your mangrove snapper. We get that quite a bit where they predate other fish that we've caught. So you're down there fishing with dead bait for smaller fish. All of a sudden you catch one and then it gets eaten. And we've caught our 3 biggest Cubera snapper ever caught that I recall, at least in my lifetime. All over 80 pounds were all caught. The 92-pounder, the 104-pounder, the 116-pounder, they were all caught totally by accident while fishing for mangrove snapper. Catch a small mangrove snapper, you're reeling it up, and all of a sudden a big one, a Cubera eats it. So incidental catch is typically how we run across them. If you want to target them, I would say probably a lobster would be your best bait. But I don't know. I don't know if you want to risk a lobster down there for bait. How much turkey will you eat on Thanksgiving? Hopefully a lot of turkey. That's the goal, right? Have a lot of turkey, hang out with family, and maybe take a nap. Sounds pretty nice to me. When it comes to your long-range multi-day trip, could you elaborate on recommended tackle? Are there some things not listed on the site that you could vouch to bring with you? On the long-range trips, like the 39 and 44-hour trip, one thing that I like to bring that maybe I think is listed in the videos, because that one video of like how to pack for a 39-hour trip, it goes pretty heavily into a lot of different details. But honestly, I haven't watched it in a while. But the how to pack for a 39-hour video on our YouTube channel is a pretty good one. But one thing that helps me a lot is earplugs, because sometimes it's a little loud, whether it's engine noise or people talking or whatever it might be. So some earplugs are helpful. Also, if you're more bothered by sound or light, you could always do like an eye mask or something to cover your eyes, right? And then it's also helpful as far as tackle goes to have a variety of tackle. And we'll get more into that in just a second. But we've got our caller of the week, Captain Mike Anderson, on the line, so we don't want him hanging out too long. So we'll get back into this question. It is a good question, so we'll get back to it, Jarrett. Just hold on for us there. Captain Mike, what's going on, buddy?
Caller of the week. Man, I feel honored.
I should rephrase that. Our only caller that calls the show.
I got you. Everything's good here, bro.
Don't let it go to your head. Speaking of going to your head, how did your hunting go?
Hunting is always good because you're in the woods. So it was good.
Okay. I heard a different story.
Probably gonna. Oh well, I mean, I missed a Big Ten, but I mean, I've shot a big doe too, so I got meat, and there's still plenty of hunting left.
All right.
So I missed. Yeah.
Ben Marshall was selling you down the river in front of the group Saturday at Fishing for Hope. He was telling the story of Captain Mike's trials with the 10-pointer.
Yeah, well, he the 10-pointer won, that's for sure. But that's my deal. I shake like a leaf when that big buck steps out. I just do. Buck fever is real.
Yeah,
and I apparently cannot shake it.
So Mahoney was talking about a shooting stick. Now, that's not something I've heard of used very frequently, but he was like a big believer in a shooting stick. Do you use one of those?
Well, it depends. I do carry a shooting stick with me in certain stands, but because most stands have shooting rails, and I'm tall, I will use the shooting stick to raise my shooting rail. And then I'll set my gun on the shooting rail. So Mahoney's just a little bitty fella, so he probably needs that shooting rail.
Those shooting sticks. We the Flying Hub 1 was a go fast single hull kind of center console style boat that we had for a little bit, and we had, because of the gunnels were so low, it had these basically shooting sticks around the vessel, and you put them in a rod holder, and it basically was somewhere for you to lay your rod, so that way you could fight a bigger fish and have something to kind of rest your rod against while you're fighting the fish. And they were affectionately dubbed purse holders on that boat, because that's kind of what they look like. Like you go in the front of a restaurant and you got like the thing to hang your coat on, or the purse on. That's what I envision Mahoney using in his deer stand now. Once I heard
Mahoney's deer stand. Mahoney's deer stand looks a lot like a Chevy pickup truck. That's the problem, and his shooting stick looks a lot like a rear view mirror.
Side view mirror.
Side view mirror. Yeah, exactly. So Mahoney, you got to take all Mahoney's hunting stuff with a grain of salt.
I gotcha.
As we all know.
All right. Well, now we have that figured out. What about fishing? How have you been doing fishing wise?
You know what? I'll tell you what's been really good is the big trout bite, especially down around Fort DeSoto. Yeah, the big trout bite's been fantastic. A lot of 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-inch fish around. A lot of redfish too, but not very big redfish, which for some people, they get bummed out when they see 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-inch redfish. To me, that doesn't bum me out. We've caught a lot of smaller redfish in big numbers.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to see this time of year when the red fishing it was pretty decent this fall. I wouldn't say it was fantastic, but I would say it was decent. We had some pretty good days. We caught some fish. But the last 2 years now, and again, hopefully it'll carry through the whole winter here. It'll be a real big indicator, but the last 2 years we've had phenomenal, small redfish bites when it gets cold along certain dock lines, along certain shorelines. The rat reds, we like to call them, those fish that again are like 16 to 22 inches. They've been everywhere the last 2 winters. And I shouldn't say they've been here this whole winter yet, but they've already shown up in really good numbers. So I'm assuming we'll have some to catch this winter. That's a fantastic thing. I mean, that tells me that the redfish fishery is recovering some and that things are going in the right direction. So that's pretty exciting. There's been a decent snook bite. I wouldn't say the snook bite's been fantastic, but it's been decent. So there's a lot of good things going on. I still don't have a kingfish report. I haven't been out there, and I haven't talked to anybody who's been out there since the blow, so I'm not sure how that is. But other than that, snook, redfish, and trout, the bite's been pretty decent, fairly strong, considering we're not on great tides, and we've had some questionable weather with the wind blowing and all that.
Yeah, we've been getting a few kingfish, a lot of mackerel near shore on the beach, and we're catching a handful of kingfish here and there, but they've been really, really small. Like 28, 29, 30-inch kingfish. Like you kind of have to eyeball and make sure it's not a mackerel.
Right.
Not a lot of big kings on the beach. We've caught a handful here and there, but definitely not super thick. But a lot of mackerel around for sure.
Well, I'm not surprised by that because the bait's been so good.
Yeah.
The bait's been really, really strong. Yeah, it's been really, really strong along the beach. It's been strong at the Skyway Bridge. A lot of the markers are holding bait. So, none of that, the mackerel, as long as that bait's prevalent, I would think that mackerel bite's going to stay pretty strong.
Yeah, and there's quite a few of them around. So we got that going for us at least, and enjoying that while it's here. And there's kingfish there. It's just not crazy numbers, not crazy concentrations.
Sure. Yeah. Well, again, it's, headed towards Thanksgiving here, late November. That bite can get a little testy just because of the weather. We normally have, the winds start to pick up, the fronts start to pick up. So it's just that time of year. Normally, if you haven't had a really good kingfish bite for yourself personally by now, you may be looking at spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of how it works.
Yeah, fall is normally a little bit softer, but it's real soft so far.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think a lot of that, although I say it from the bay boat side,
mm-hmm.
And you guys obviously there at Hubbard's have the big boats, but for us, it's really dependent. The fall bite's really dependent on the weather.
Yeah.
Actually, the spring bite is too. We may have a ton of kingfish out there, and the guys in the 23, 24, 25, 26 foot bay boats just you can go out there if you got the right customers that can stomach it, but it can be a little testy, and that's really what we've had so far this year. It's just been windy.
Yeah.
So it's just what we're used to dealing with it. You got to be able to kind of bounce and bob and weave. I've heard some reports of the sheephead kind of showing up already. So
a lot of sheephead.
Yeah, that's kind of exciting. So, that's all good stuff. And that's kind of what we'll concentrate here on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday I'm off as we get ready to get run over for Thanksgiving. We've got about, I think, 35 coming for Thanksgiving. So,
to your house?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a crowd.
That's impressive.
But it's all family. Yeah, but it's all family, some close friends. So, it's a good time. And I hope, I hope all of the listeners to this great show, our shows on the weekend as well. Hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving, a great holiday. We got a lot to be grateful for. And, it's a special time of year as we roll into the holidays and get ready to wrap up 2023 here.
Amen to that. Well, I appreciate it, as always, number one caller, and look forward to getting back with you here behind Thanksgiving.
I'm going to get me a Sunday shirt made that says that, number one caller. I'll just wear it on Sundays. I'll just wear it by myself here at the house, but
you can pretend,
it makes me feel important. So
you could pretend like you're Donald from
all good stuff. Hey, how was Fishing for Hope? Was it good? I'm sorry I missed it.
Dude, Fishing for Hope was awesome.
Free,
yeah, Fishing for Hope was awesome Saturday, and money's still coming in for Fishing for Hope at Metropolitan Ministries, and there was a lot of people there. We had a lot of great volunteers, and the show was spectacular this past Saturday morning. Probably, no offense, but one of the best radio shows I've been a part of. You had Captain Bill Miller there, and he was just spilling secrets. And then Van Hubbard called in, and they were talking about some of the old tricks that they used to do all the time. And then nice. Ray Markham called in. It was just a litany of pompano secrets, trout secrets. He was talking about how you can target trout but still catch pompano. It was really, really interesting.
You know what? I've had many great shows over the years with Capt. Bill Miller.
Yeah.
He's so ingrained in our community. He's been such a piece of our fishing heritage here, if you will.
Big time.
The history of fishing. Yeah. So many great TV shows he did with so much information. He's such a great angler. His son, Billy Miller Jr., is a great angler. From here to Boca Grande. He spent a lot of time with Larry Mastry from Mastry's Bait and Tackle down there in St. Pete, what used to be down there in St. Pete. And those two together, I'd have paid big money to get on the boat with those two brains. There's so much knowledge there.
What was crazy is he talked about how their charter season used to go, and he would start the year in the Bahamas, then fish the Keys, then fish around Johns Pass, Madeira Beach, then go to Boca Grande, then go to Panama City Beach, then go to the Northern Gulf. Literally moving his boat every 1 month, 2 months, him and Captain Buster Herzog. It's amazing that they used to move around so much, and just the different fisheries that they participated in. Whereas it was kind of making me feel like a one-trick pony.
Bro, I'm telling you, dude, there's so much to be said for, those guys who did it. Even your dad, in the early days when he was running Hubbard's, and obviously, your grandfather, there's so much with the technology being so advanced today.
Yeah.
And again, not that it's easy, not that you can just, anybody can go do it, because it still takes work.
Yeah.
But those guys who did it, Bob Mahoney, Mike's dad, running off his compass and looking at his watch to get to those areas of hard bottom.
Crazy.
It's crazy impressive. Can you imagine Bill Miller back in the day running from the Bahamas all the way up to the Panhandle and fishing all the way back on what they had back then for electronics?
Paper charts in the RAN A.
Bro, and again, I've always been in awe of Captain Bill Miller.
Yeah.
What he did, obviously hundreds and hundreds of TV shows that he did every week, having to film shows.
He said they filmed all day Tuesday and the show aired Thursday. So,
yep. I shot several shows with him. Yeah, I shot several shows with him. My dad was on a show because my dad worked at Mercury Outboards at the time, and Bill was a Mercury guy. So when he heard my dad work for Mercury and was ran the prop division, the aluminum prop division, he had my dad come and sit on the show, and my dad, God rest his soul, was just tickled to death that Bill would have him on and ask questions. And
that's cool.
Bill Miller's, he's one of those guys, kind of like Captain Mel. There's a lot of them that Frank Sargent, guys that are just absolute amazing blessings to this fishery.
Yeah.
And Bill's one of those. You know, we talk about the Mount Rushmore of fishing for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how you, I don't even know how you start to carve that out without, you know, Bill Miller's face being on it. I just don't know.
Yeah.
So impressive guy. I'm glad you had a great weekend, and I appreciate you covering for me, brother.
No worries, brother. Appreciate you, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, you and all your listeners and your family have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks, buddy.
You as well. Happy Thanksgiving.
See you, pal.
See you, bud. 35 people at his house. That's crazy. I am blessed not to be having that big of a Thanksgiving at my house. But, yes, you're right. John pointed out it was Bobby Buswell. I said Buster Herzog. It was Bobby Buswell that was Captain Bill Miller. Was working deck for Captain Bobby Buswell. I messed that one up. Buster Herzog was another great guy of that era, but different. Back to the questions. So, one question we had earlier before Captain Mike called was about the 39-hour, kind of some stuff that maybe isn't mentioned on the website that we recommend. So I mentioned bringing some earplugs, maybe some eye coverings, face coverings. I always like to be comfortable when I sleep, so I'll bring a little blanket and a sleeping bag, but some people just use a sleeping bag. Also, of course, a nice pillow, stuff to shower with, stuff to change. Plenty of changes of clothes, extra changes of socks because you're wearing boots on deck. Sometimes it gets a little rainy. Sometimes it might get a little rough and you take a wave, and wet socks in boots are never good. So extra socks is always a good idea. Plenty of tackle. And I always like to bring some protein bars, some Gatorades, some liquid IVs, or some sort of electrolytes are a good one too. Those are some tips and tricks behind the scenes. Some beef jerky, always a good idea. Lots of assorted mixed nuts. You want to make sure you get plenty of amino acids and electrolytes to keep you fishing hard. That's the goal. And caffeine, your caffeine of choice. What can be caught free lining on a 39-hour trip this time of year? Blackfin tuna is the big one right now. We're seeing a lot of blackfin tuna. This last 39-hour that came in this morning had 2 or 3 nice blackfin tuna. We're seeing a lot of those. You got a chance for kingfish. Yesterday, 12-hour extreme trip caught a solid stud of a sailfish. The Jimmy family was out there on a 12-hour private fishing charter and just nailed a massive sailfish on the flat line. So you've got blackfin tuna around, you got kingfish around, some that you might see, sailfish, and also wahoo as well. Another question I saw was about why don't we offer 16-hour extreme trips instead of 12-hour extreme trips, or maybe in addition to the 12-hour extreme trip, do a 16-hour trip. The reason we do 5 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, and then jump all the way to a 39-hour is Coast Guard regulations. So as soon as you go over 12 hours and you go to 13 hours, you have to have 2 licensed captains on the vessel. 1 captain can only work up to 12 hours, according to U.S. Coast Guard regulations. So any trip greater than 12 hours, you have to have 2 licensed captains on board. And in order to have 2 licensed captains on board, it gets expensive. You got to pay 2 licensed captains. Then you got to pay more crew. You got to have extra crew on the boat. So you're paying more payroll and more costs to the trip, and you're burning more fuel because obviously you're going longer. So the cost of goods sold goes up exponentially. So as we invest more money into making the trip happen, then obviously the trip cost, the ticket price is going up. So as ticket prices go up, we want to try to make it worthwhile, right? So the 39-hour, the reason it's not, originally it was a 32-hour trip. The reason it's a 39-hour trip is over time we've slowed the boat down, trying to maximize or minimize the fuel burn to maximize the value to our guests. So when it was a 32-hour trip, the Florida fishermen can run 26 knots, 27 knots. Can you imagine that big party boat going 26 knots, almost 30 miles an hour? It's pretty awesome. It's fast. It's a fast boat. It was built to be fast. But the problem is when we're running the boat that hard, we're burning a ton of fuel. We're super hard on the motors. The motors only last 20% as long as they do now. So when we're running really hard, we're breaking down more. We're spending more money on motors. We're spending more money on fuel. And the trip cost is exponentially higher. So you get a little bit more fishing time, but all of a sudden the ticket price is really, really high. So we slow the boat down. We go a little bit longer, make it a 39-hour trip, and we save a ton in motor and fuel, and we pass those savings along to you guys. Keep in mind, in 2024, we're not increasing prices of our trips. There's no planned price increase for 2024 on our fishing trips, really on any of our trips. And this is the first time in a long time, even though in this state of the world, everything is going up, costs are going up, we're really working hard to prevent costs going up at Hubbard's Marina by doing everything in our power to keep trips affordable and cost effective for you and your family to get out there on the water. So no price increases for 2024 are planned at this time. And hopefully you guys can appreciate that, because it is incredibly hard for us to continue to move forward without price increases. But we want to do the best we can to keep it as affordable as possible. Richard Harcourt, appreciate those stars, my friend. Thank you very much for the support. Now, we're going to get into another free giveaway. Speaking of making things affordable for you, let's give away some free stuff. And then we're going to go ahead and answer some more questions. So, let's see. We gave away a 10-hour all-day for 2. Let's do our Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Our Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Lucky winner is Joseph Adams from Omaha, Nebraska. Congratulations, Joseph Adams. You got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address and your shirt size so we can get you out that swag pack, that Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Let's see here. Next question. We've been seeing more muttons and yellowtails that are normally further south. Are any of the 39-hour trips heading more south than normal to increase the chances of getting into them? Yes and no. Generally, over the last 5 to 10 years, we've been seeing more yellowtail snapper. And when we're fishing more west and a little bit south of west, we see more of those yellowtail snapper. Now, in the last 3 to 5 years, we've been seeing more mutton snapper. This year, we've been seeing more mutton snapper and yellowtail snapper than ever before. And we're not fishing necessarily any further south than we normally do historically. Now, when we fish on the southern side of our typical historic fishing grounds, we do see more yellowtails and muttons. So we're not fishing further south than we normally have, but we do fish on the southern side of our fishing grounds to get more of those yellowtail snapper and mutton snapper. If we fish on the northern side of our fishing grounds that we have historically fished, we're going to see a little bit less of those yellowtails and mutton snappers. So yes and no. All right, let's see here. Just booked a 12-hour night. What can I expect? We target 12-hour night trips towards mangrove snapper. You've got a chance for vermilion snapper. We see some of those yellowtail snapper, lots of porgies, good chance for almaco jacks in December. You're probably going to see a few gag grouper that we have to catch and release, but the target's going to be those mangrove snapper for sure. Who was the captain of the 39-hour trip in early to mid-90s with the long hair? Guess he was in the 30s or younger. Probably Captain Mike McDermott. Captain Matt Shimp ran the 39-hour trip through the 90s and early 2000s, really all the way through like 2012. He ran it for like 20, 25 years, Captain Matt Shimp. But early 90s, Captain Mike McDermott was still around, and he had longer hair than Captain Matt Shimp. So that probably is who you're talking about, I guess. Let's see here. What other questions? Will you ever bring back the 39-hour or 63-hour trip? Right now, there's a lot of issues with deep water grouper, tilefish, queen snapper. They're actually a pretty big discussion right now in clamping down pretty strictly on those regulations in deep water fish. Plus, on top of that, in the Gulf, you can only keep a 2-day bag limit, right? So it doesn't matter if you're at sea 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, or 20 days, you can only keep a 2-day bag limit. So doing these super long trips, super far into the Gulf, you're not really getting a chance to keep very many more fish. Plus, fishing deeper water, you're fishing for these species that are super old. A pretty decent-sized yellow edge grouper is like 40 or 50 years old. They grow really slowly. Queen snapper, the same. They're super old fish. Snowy grouper, super old fish. So anything that's really, really deep like that is in colder, deeper, darker water. And they grow really slowly. They mature really slowly. They don't reproduce as quickly. So with all the added effort shifting into deep water, there's a really big conversation at the council table right now and at the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council to clamp down on those regulations. A lot of boats that fish out there, like the Yankee Caps, they're talking about wanting full-scale regulation changes and really, really restrictive movement of deep water fishing because of the number of people out there. So for us to change our fishery back to deep water trips that we were doing before anybody else doesn't really make sense for us as a company for many aspects. We were doing those deep water trips well before many other boats were, and back then there wasn't as big of a market for it. And on top of that, those areas, you go hit an area, you catch a bunch of fish, you can't go back there for a long time. It's not like you can fish there 1 month and 6 months later you can come back. When we take a party boat out there and we hammer it down, it's not much area around our coastline to go. There's not these big areas like, for example, Pooley Ridge, but even Pooley Ridge is getting fished down pretty heavily. So it's a challenge, and the reason we don't do 63 hours in my mind is because I can take 18 people on a 63 hour and the weather has to be perfect. Whereas as a company, I can take 20, 30 people out on a 39-hour trip, and then I can also do a 5-hour half day and a 10-hour all day. So I can do more trips, I can make more people happy, we can stay closer to shore, we can burn less money or burn less fuel, not put as much tension on our motors, and keep the boats running slower. And if it's 2 to 3 foot seas, we can still run those trips where you can't run a trip, a 63 hour in 3 or 4 foot seas out into deep water. So they're just too weather sensitive. There's not enough capacity, and our schedule is just too full. We're blessed to be busy. This year we ran 82 39-hour trips and 44-hour trips. Next year we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 85 long-range trips scheduled. We've got a ton of 12-hour extremes scheduled. We've got a ton of private charters. So our schedule is just maxed out. When we have an extra boat laying around, we might get into some more of those unique style trips. So never say never on the 63-hour trips, but not for 2024. Any news on the red grouper from NOAA Fisheries? No news on the red grouper front from NOAA Fisheries. Right now, they're still looking into it. We spent this entire past week at the Marine Recreational Education Program meeting, and there was a lot of discussion by me with the NOAA folks. The positive news is they're very seriously reviewing the red grouper information. And there is a chance that something positive may come of that. So I'm holding out hope, but also at the same time kind of conservatively holding out hope, right? Not counting on anything, but there is a chance that they might do something. But the timeline is not good. I don't think, even if they are wrong and it is found out and they admit they're wrong, I don't think it's going to be something that happens quick enough to reopen the fishery this year. So I still hope that they'll admit they're wrong and they'll address the situation, because that means in 2024 we won't see a 4 or 5 month red grouper season. We'll see a 8, 9, 10 month red grouper fishery. So hopefully they'll figure that out for sure. But it's a big question. A lot of people were asking, what are the seasons looking like for 2024? Keep in mind, red grouper doesn't have a season. It opens January 1st, and it stays open until the quota is projected to be met. Well, right now, the way the numbers are falling, red grouper for 2024 is going to open January 1st and could close as early as April or May or early June. Or if they address this problem and say, hey, there was a problem, we fixed it, this is the reason it happened, this is the solution we have, then potentially we could see red grouper close August, September, October, or maybe even November next year. So red grouper is going to open January 1st and is going to be open anywhere from 4 to 10 months or 4 to 11 months. So red grouper is a big question mark next year. Red snapper for us, federally permitted vessels, we hit the number right on the head with 95% of our ACT landed. So that means we can pretty much guarantee red snapper will open June 1st, and it will probably stay open almost all the way through the month of August. As far as gag grouper, they're going to open September 1st, and they're going to be open for 3 weeks to 3 months. And we're going to know more about that come April. Once the finalized landings come in for 2023, we'll have a really good idea in April of 2024 what our gag grouper season is going to be looking like. But I'm going to guess September 1st through at least October. And that's kind of what we planned for and scheduled for. But I'm hoping that it'll go all the way into mid to late November. So we're going to wait and see on those. Amberjack will open September 1st and should be open for about 3 to 4 weeks. Triggerfish will be open all year except for June and July. At least that's been the case, and it looks like it's going to be the case again this year. So that's kind of the seasons as they shape up for 2024. Watched your video on hogfish. Is a spinning reel better than a conventional reel? For hogfish only, in this specific application, when fishing shallower than like 80 foot of water, a spinning reel is a good idea. Is it better than a conventional reel? It's hard for me to say that because conventional reels to me are really the best in the business when it comes to bottom fishing, but definitely a good option. Would be a spinning reel in those shallower near shore waters, especially for hogfish, just because a hogfish can bite so timidly, and then sometimes they just come up and freaking slam it. So you never know with the hogfish. It could just be a little touch. Might not even bite. Might just kind of mouth the bait and sit there, and you go to lift your rod tip and it feels like it's hung up on the bottom, and then all of a sudden it starts to fight. So hogfish are tricky in that sense. You want something that's super sensitive, super light, but also very strong. And a spinning reel really gives you that option. So a spinning reel is pretty good when you're targeting the hogfish. Is it better than a conventional? I'll never say. Let's go ahead and do another giveaway. We gave away our 10-hour trip, our Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Let's go ahead and give away our 5-hour half day for one lucky winner for 2 guests. Go ahead. Let's find out who won. John Schnitzer from Orange Park, Florida. Congratulations, my friend. You won our 5-hour half day for 2 guests. You got 5 minutes to claim it. Text that phone number at the bottom of your screen, your full home address, to claim your free trip. All right. Let's see. What other questions do we have? When does the 25% off for giving a new Christmas toy end? I believe that's 11. So it already ended. Yes? December 15th. So you have all the way until December 15th to get 25% off if you bring a new unwrapped toy. We have a toy drive going on at Hubbard's Marina. We also have Black Friday coming up this Friday. For those of you who live under rocks, Black Friday starts this week. And at Hubbard's Marina, we do Black Friday a little differently because we realize some of you might want to like go to like a Best Buy or like a mall and you're crazy like that on Black Friday. But come shop at Hubbard's Marina, shop small, shop local. We will have Black Friday deals going on starting Black Friday all the way through our Regulars Club Christmas party, which happens December 16th. Also, our Supporters Club is invited to the Regulars Club Christmas party. It's a Regulars Club, Supporters Club Christmas party December 16th from 4 to 7 p.m. And the Black Friday deals will end that night. So you can start Black Friday all the way through December 16th. And our toy drive, trying to collect new unwrapped toys for children. The box is set up in our office. You bring a toy in, you get 25% off trips all the way through December 15th. But it's only like a 5-hour half day, I believe 10-hour all day, dolphin tour, 3-hour shell key shelling. Did I miss anything, Josh? I think that's it. And I think sunset too. So you can get some good deals if you bring in a toy for sure. Online as well, we will have some Black Friday online deals for those of you who want to shop small and shop local but don't live local. We will have some online Black Friday deals, but definitely more in-store deals than online deals. For example, we have deals on rods and reels. We won't be able to offer those rods and reel deals online. So there are some deals you can't take advantage of online, but we'll have a lot of them right on our website as well. All right, what other questions do we have? Let's see here. How do you get into the frequent flyer thing? So we have a Regulars Club. I'm going to take you over to our website here at hubbardsmarina.com under fishing trips. Hit fishing trip information and then hit the Regulars Club. The Regulars Club information is right on this page. We'll go ahead and put it in the chat for you guys. But the Regulars Club page is going to show you all the information on the club, and it's going to have a video describing what the Regulars Club is. It's going to have the prices of the club, and then down here it shows you the price of the trip without the discount, the retail pricing, and then it shows you the prices of the trip with the discount. So like say the top level Regulars Club, the Florida Fisherman Club, gives you 50% off our 5 and 10 hour trips, 30% off our longer range trips. It's $400 plus tax to join. There is a first time sign up fee of $40. So it's around like $470 or so for first time members, but you get 50% off those 5 and 10 hour trips. So if you're fishing a lot, fishing 10, 15, 20 times a year or more, or if you aspire to fish 5, 10, 15, 20 times a trip a year or more, the Regulars Club really makes a lot of sense. So it's up to you if you're interested in the Regulars Club. But how do you get into it is simply by calling or stopping by. I can sign you up personally over the phone or in person, but that is always only in person or over the phone, and it's something you do with me directly. New members sign up starts December 1st at 11 a.m. Our schedule for 2024 comes out December 1st at 11 a.m. Our 39-hour trips for 2024 are bookable December 1st at 11 a.m. So if you want to sign up as a new member of the Regulars Club, December 1st at 11 a.m. You want to sign up for a 2024 trip, December 1st at 11 a.m. Regulars Club renewals are happening now, and we're working through that list, and then new member sign up starts December 1st. I think I've heard it's 11 a.m. All right, next question. Let's see what we got here. As we wait for that to load, want to make sure we remind you guys this Friday is Final Friday. So after a busy day of eating Thanksgiving and hanging out around the house, join us right here at Hubbard's Marina for Final Friday. We're going to have a pie contest. If you haven't checked out the pie contest page, make sure you do so. You just enter your name and information about what kind of pie you're going to be baking. And some more information about the pie contest is there. It's a $300 first place prize. It's $100 for second place, and third place you get a Hubbard's Marina swag pack. So all you have to do is show up with a pie and to enter the pie contest, or you could show up empty-handed and just simply enjoy the crawfish boil, the free beer. We give away free water soda. It's basically a customer appreciation, community appreciation event. It's completely free, and it's a ton of fun. So that's every final Friday, every last Friday of the month. And our supporters club has helped us come up with events. So every final Friday, we're going to have a contest. Last final Friday, it was a chili contest. This final Friday, it was a pie contest that's coming up this Friday. Next month, we have another silly event and more. Cookies, right, for December. January is another event. Barbecue for January. Josh knows them all by heart, apparently. But they are on our email newsletter as well, so you can stay tuned there. But our supporters club help us plan an event every final Friday. There's a special prize contest deal. So check it out. Definitely join us for Final Friday. We hope to see you out there. That's this Friday. Not only are we going to have the crawfish boil, free beer, free food, and the pie contest, there's a John's Pass Wide pub crawl. There's 3 live music bands, band stages. There's a ton of stuff going on John's Pass Wide. Plus, on top of all that, our Black Friday deals kick off, and we're doing raffles in the shop. So for every $5 you spend, you get a raffle ticket at the end of the night. We're going to raffle away some free trips. So show up, get free beer, free water soda, free crawfish, pie contest, free live music, John's Pass Wide pub crawl, raffles in the shop, Black Friday deals. It's crazy. So hopefully we'll see you Friday. Great opportunity to come hang out and have a good time. All right. I think we got time for one more question, one more quick one. We have ash gathering trips. We'll send you some rates for sure. We have memorial trips. We do it all. Anything you want to do on the water. Let's see here. What's available for a 39-hour in December. We already kind of talked about that. Let's see. What other questions do we have? I think we kind of got most of the questions so far. If we missed your question, we'll try to get you after the show. Let's see here. All right. Well, I think we covered a lot of what we needed to cover. Hopefully, we're going to see you soon. It's the first quarter moon right now, so tides have kind of slowed down a little bit, but we're working our way to that full moon, so tides will pick up as we get beyond Thanksgiving, and it's going to get better and better and better. So we'll see you 6 to 9 p.m. this Friday for Final Friday, and hopefully we'll see you out there on the water. Don't forget to tell your friends about the show every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. We hope to see you next week and every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. for the live stream show. So tell your friends, make sure you share the news about the show. And then also keep in mind as well, we've got our Real Animals Saturday morning radio show that's streamed live to Facebook too. This past Saturday was a good one, so maybe catch the rerun to that. And then on top of that, we've got tons of great fishing, dolphin tours, island trips, and so much more going on. So stop by and see us. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Thanks for being a part of our Hubbard's Marina family. Let's find out who won our 39-hour trip for one lucky winner. Winner is, let's see, Karma Cat, Ashley Pettit's mom. Congratulations, lucky winner of the night. Make sure you text us within 5 minutes to prove you're watching live. We'll see the rest of you next week. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And thanks for being a part of our family, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving.